The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.
Welcome to another edition of Real Family Talk. Hello. Welcome to another week of Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. Hope everybody's having a great evening out there. We're in Orlando, Florida, as you all know by now, I'm sure. It's another lovely evening in Orlando, a little humid at night, but that's the way we do it down here, man. I wouldn't want it any other way. Let me go ahead and introduce my panel with me tonight. I got Jeremy's in the building. How you doing tonight, Jeremy?
I'm good. How's everybody doing out there?
Awesome. And then I got my guest here. We're going to be talking with him a little later, but he is joining us now, too, at the moment. Neal is in the house. How you doing tonight, Neal?
I'm doing good, man. Glad to be here.
Awesome, man. We appreciate you coming. And we have a couple people joining us a little bit later as well. We'll get to them when they get here. Remember, if anytime you want to comment on the show, the number is 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. We want to jump right in, man, with this conversation this evening. Mr. Howard has finally chosen a destination to play out at least the next 3 years. Apparently he's going to sign a 4-year contract, but I can opt out after 3. But he's going to Houston, man. He's going to Houston. Houston has a big man once again. Tell me, guys, what you think, man. Dwight Howard in Houston, man. Does that change Houston's fortunes and now send them maybe close to the promised land? What do you think?
Get them close to the semifinals. That's about it. I'm not going too far after that.
so maybe into the second round, but that's about it, huh?
That's about it, yeah.
No championship seasons yet, huh? No championship seasons yet. What about you, Jeremy? What you think?
I agree. I think the farthest you can expect them to get is maybe the second round of the playoffs. You know, I don't expect them to get in the finals. You know, Spurs still going to be there. OKC still there. You know, he's still going to have to deal with the Lakers to some extent, you know, so I don't know.
You think the Lakers, though? I think the Lakers are about done, man. I mean, judging just from what they played like last year, I mean, Kobe's coming back from the Achilles heel tear, you know, which, I mean, you know, Kobe, of course, expects to come back 100%. I think they said he averaged 27 and 6 this year, something like that, 27 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, or something like that. But I don't expect him to be that good. I mean, that Achilles is a monster, man. That's your walking abilities. That's your jumping abilities. You know, he likes to twirl it up and mix it up with the ball sometimes. That makes it difficult when you're trying to heal off that Achilles, man. Yeah. And then who else they got after that, man?
It does. It does, but
it's Kobe.
Once he get in the game, he started talking. Especially talking to Dwight. Y'all know Dwight ain't got no real heart now. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest. Dwight ain't got no heart.
Dwight
once you get to talking, then we'll see what happens. You know, and I ain't about being no Laker fan. I'm just being honest.
No, the Lakers about done. You got Gasol, you know, fighting, you know, whatever the plant shots in his foot, and Steve Nash pushing 1,000. You know,
That's true. That's true.
I mean, who your wingman? Meta World Peace?
No, and they're thinking about using the amnesty clause on him.
He's done. You know what I mean? I think if anything out the West, the Spurs still there, you know, as graceful as they are, and you got the Warriors who packing up, and you got to watch out for. I think the Kings might do something too. Everybody was a little young this year, so I think next year going to be a good year. Watch out for Stephen Curry too.
Yeah, the Warriors is really something to be dealt with.
Definitely.
That's the one everybody need to watch out for. They will surprise a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. They just signed not a big man, but a nice
Iguodala,
yeah.
Now they got their defensive stopper on the perimeter now.
Yeah, the Warriors should be something interesting, and you're right. I think the Spurs, though, I'm not convinced the Spurs are gonna make it back to the finals though next year. I think they're the Spurs. The fundamentals will be there. But I don't know, man. I don't know about that, man.
They got through everybody else.
Think so?
This year, Leonard gonna be better. I mean, all the young guys gonna be better. Green, shoot, ain't nobody gonna be able to tell Green nothing this year. He gonna have a green light if he ever had one.
You better believe it. It should be good to see. It should be good to see.
Yeah, now that's what I'm more interested to see with the Spurs. How much the young guys are gonna grow from this playoff experience. You know, I like Green. He's a Carolina guy. You know, I like Carolina, so
all day.
I like Green. So when he was hitting them threes, I was happy and mad at the same time.
Good for him, but we'll see, man. It should be interesting. I think it definitely adds a new dynamic to the West, and certainly, you know, adds to the power that the West already has. You know, even here in the East, you know, you got Miami. You got Indiana's.
You don't even need to call nobody else. All you got to do is say they got Miami. I mean, they got the last two rings. I mean, you ain't even got to say nobody else.
But they got the Bulls ranked number 1 in the East right now. They said with the healthy Derrick Rose and Luol Deng that they can smash or they will beat the Heat.
Yeah, it all sounds good till you get on the court.
To get in that, so you do have to win a 7-game series, right? Well, we'll see, man. I think it's interesting. I think it was a great move for him.
But remember, the Lakers were supposed to be in the finals, right?
Yeah, they were.
It sounded good.
It sounded good.
Sounded real good, too.
We'll see. But like I said, I think it still was a great move for him, you know, considering his choices. I think going there with James Harden, he's playing like a beast. And you know, with now that he's got some distraction, you never know, man. His game could step up by a few points as well. So that'll be good for them. Jeremy Lin come back, step it up at the point guard position. You heard what I said. You heard what I said.
Linsanity.
Linsanity, man.
Insanity. I don't know why y'all thought that man was the second coming of Pistol Pete. Man, went on a 3-game streak.
But
y'all anointed him the chosen one.
He had a good season.
He was hitting for a little bit, though.
He was hitting for a little bit. He had a good season. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't awful.
A good season.
He held his own.
Against who?
They weren't disappointed by him.
Okay.
They may not want to pay him $15 million next year, but, you know, they weren't disappointed by him.
Too late. He got his money.
Harden was hitting 40 points a game. That's why Houston did what they did. I'm still ain't convinced he wasn't the leading scorer this year. They need to rework them numbers.
Who was that, Lynn?
No, I'm talking about Harden.
No.
All the points he had to hit for them to win.
Well, what did he end up? 1, 2, 3?
I don't know, but I'm just saying.
I don't think
wasn't nobody else doing that.
He went 1, 2, or 3, I don't think, man. I don't think he was even he might have been top 5, but I don't think he was in the top 3 though, bro.
I'm just saying. Somebody need to check
the stat sheet, huh?
Go back and review the tape.
So you know somebody was checking the stat sheet. You know they were, bro. If they paying attention to rules in golf, you know they checking the stats in basketball.
Checking it twice.
They checking it twice, bro. If there was a problem, to let you know. But man, we'll see what happens, man. Looks like, you know, another good basketball season potentially. You know, the NBA has kind of been on the low as far as competition, it seems like, for the last couple of years. But they're bringing in some rivalries, some new things happening, and they seem to be on the come up.
Ain't nobody saying nothing about the Nets.
What's there to say about the Nets?
Okay, that's all I wanted to hear.
Right.
They in Brooklyn.
Yep.
They got a nice arena,
and they got 2 old players.
They gonna come out there. They gonna come out there. They gonna limp out there for warm up.
Right. Exactly. They got 2 old players.
They go put them in on the fourth quarter. That's all they gonna play is the fourth quarter all year.
They finna get sponsored by Ben Gay. They gonna need it.
They definitely gonna need it, man. We'll see, man. It should be another interesting basketball season, man. We'll move on though. 407-894-1680 is the number if you ever want to comment on anything we are discussing. We're gonna move on to talk about Trayvon Martin and the George Zimmerman case here in a moment. But before I do, for those of us that do live in the city beautiful, I was on the Orlando City website today, and I noticed something that I think we ought to kind of get behind. Apparently, Coca-Cola is sponsoring they call it a Take It to the Park campaign, where you can sponsor and vote for your favorite America park. And Lake Eola made the list. From what I was reading, we're ranked number 11th right now. And I went to the site. There's over 1 million votes. So I didn't check and see how many other cities and things were on there. But we are number 11th right now, and voting is still going on. The winner is going to receive $100,000 to go towards the enhancement of their park. So if you live in the city beautiful, man, I encourage you to go check it out. Vote for our city, man. Put our city back on the map, man. Number 1.
Hold on now.
It is Lake Eola, but that's okay. They had done a great job at improving Lake Eola in the last few years. I'll give them that.
Okay, that's true.
But what were we going to say, sir?
What about Barnett Park? You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about Orlando. You know,
The heart of Orlando.
you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about Orlando. You know, I got a whole issue. I mean, I'm finna drift off subject for a second. I had this discussion with other people. You know, it's really like the city of Orlando overall. They done forgot about the west side of town. If you listen to different radio stations, not this one, because this one they still hear a lot of their churches in this community, but everything they do, all their promo stuff. Everything is all on the east side of town. Everything, no matter what it is, it's all on the east side of town. Everything's about this, Goldenrod, this on 436, this on Chickasaw, whatever. It's like they done forgot about us. Like we don't exist. What is that? Can somebody answer that for me?
Well, I think if you just look at the development, that's what the development is right now.
Pretty much.
The development is downtown. There's still, obviously the Performing Arts Center is still being built. They're working on other projects to get built downtown, other improvements that they're working on that are going to happen downtown. And then, of course, there's a lot of development over on the east side of town. So I just think right now that's where the boom is in terms of development. So that's what you hear them promoting. It is what it is. The promotion follows the money. And right now the money's downtown and on the east. That's where the money's at.
Yeah, just not a whole lot to invest as big on the west side as it is on the east side of town, between just building the west side, it's just us, you know what I mean, and making it through. And pretty much besides going to church and going to work on the west side of town, you might stop into a good chicken joint there, get some good, get some good wings or some good seafood over there on Hiawassee. But that's just something we keep between, that's between us, how we know about it. Ain't no commercials for that,
No, it ain't. That it ain't.
Definitely. And they, like I said, they're building and building, You think about over in Waterford Lakes, you think about the big shopping center that they have over there, the little mini mall. One of the store owner there is, a reality TV famous now,
Who is that?
The one of the owners, I don't know the exact name of the cupcake shop, but one of the owners of a popular cupcake shop over there won Cupcake Wars a couple of times. So,
Okay. Well, aside from him, ain't nothing in Waterford Lakes. Ain't nothing in Waterford Lakes that ain't over here. I'm just gonna put that out there for who haven't been over there.
But that's
ain't
still,
nothing over there
that,
that's not over here, except for the cupcake guy. And I think it's one restaurant there that I remember seeing. I know it's not over here. But other than that, all that stuff is on this side of town.
You're right.
All I'm saying is don't believe the hype.
But it's new development. So, like I said, the promotion follows the money, man. It's a money thing, man. You know how it is.
I just wanted to express that. I just want to know who else was feeling that. That's all.
You said it with the chest. We understand.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I work over there. That's really why I say it. That's why, because I work on that side of town. And it's like, they talk about the west side of town like we out of town. Right. Way over there. I'm 20 minutes away.
It's we grew up on the west side, so that's what we know, and I'm still venturing out to try and learn the east side like that. But that's what a new development is. They built up the west side 10, 15 years ago. Now they build it on the east, so that's what they're promoting right now.
Okay, I guess I'll take that.
You'll take that.
For now.
That. So back to this park, Lake Eola, man. Regardless, I think, if we can make Lake Eola number one, I think we ought to knock that out the park, man. But I'm going to pass out the website here. The website is parks.livepositively.com. Parks.livepositively.com. So parks.livepositively.com. I can't spell, I promise. But you just go to the website, and then it gives you an opportunity to put in either the zip code or the city, which would allow you to then pull up Lake Eola Park and then cast your vote to make Lake Eola Park America's favorite park. That would be awesome, man. That would be awesome.
Real good.
So check it out. The last weekend of voting I see is July 13th through the 14th. So we're coming up on that this weekend. So if you can get it in, go to the website, vote for the park, and let's see if we can make Orlando Lake Eola number one, man. That'd be awesome. All right, we want to move on here. Wanted to get into the George Zimmerman case. Lots happened in the last week. We saw last week the mom, Trayvon Martin's mom, come on the stand and give her vote of confidence that it was her boy on the 911 tapes that was yelling help. We saw the brother do the same. This week we saw the defense began a little bit last week as well, and this week they actually brought his dad on to talk about his version of what he thought he heard on the tapes. Apparently, the police at least say that when they first played the tape for him, his first initial comment was, "That's not my boy." Of course, he's saying that it definitely is his boy. And then we've seen the defense bring on George Zimmerman's parents, who said, "That's my boy." Mm-hmm. And then we've also seen them bring on a slew of neighbors and friends who also said, "That's George Zimmerman." Screaming help in the tape. And then, of course, they've just been touting the character that he has and giving their opinions about whether or not his tone on the tapes had any malice or ill will in his voice, according to them. We've also seen the defense bring on a couple of expert witnesses to testify how the forensic evidence in the case certainly matches up to corroborate what George Zimmerman said in his story. We've seen the prosecution do the best to kind of poke holes in this, but if you're watching and listening, I'll just say that if you're just being honest on what you heard and not your interpretation of it, it certainly sounds like what he's saying is not too far from what at least potentially could be the truth. At the very least, if you're listening and you're honest about it, there's certainly poking enough holes to bring in some reasonable doubt as to what is true and not true regarding the case. So busy week for the defense. I heard today they're thinking about wrapping it up sometime before the end of the week as well. So we could see potentially a verdict by the end of the week or at least the beginning of next week. What are you guys thinking, man? What do you think about all this stuff you've been hearing?
I think that I agree with what you're saying. If you look at it from what's been said, and I sat and I even YouTube again what the forensic doctor specialist has said about the incident and where his hands were and how the gun went off, things of that nature. And I think that at the end of the day, the truth is going to come out to the best it can with one side telling the truth, one side telling the story. My main thing is looking at George Zimmerman, and either he's a complete stoic or he's just waiting to get off. You know what I mean? One thing or the other, because you look at him and you hear his lawyers go at it, and his story is staying exactly the same, to a point, and trying to find the people who say who's George Zimmerman screaming, who's Trayvon, is that him screaming on the tape? Since we don't know, it's more of you're going to have to leave it in them jurors' hands and hope and pray that the evidence shows the truth more than anything, because it's real hard to decide with George or Trayvon because it's only George Zimmerman's per se, and then they got people unbiased looking at it saying what George said. So it's tough. I just feel that if in fact that George Zimmerman does get off, I don't want it to be like, oh, he got off because he was Caucasian or because this happened. Listen, the truth, what they say, the proof is in the pudding, isn't it?
That's what they say.
So
that's what they say. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number if you want to comment with us. What are you thinking now over there, Jeremy?
Well, I heard a prediction that he was getting off, that he was going to get found out guilty. And I guess from a legal perspective, I can't say that's too far from the truth. I mean, like you were saying, the defense did his job to me of proving reasonable doubt. I don't think anybody can unbiasedly look at this situation and say, oh, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Right.
He killed that dude, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he killed it with intent to kill, So that's why I think they just reached too far with the second-degree murder. I think they should have, let their emotions cool down for a second and go in with something they can prove, like an involuntary manslaughter or negligent homicide or something to that effect. Because especially the negligent homicide, I do believe they could have definitely got that without even a stretch. You could still do time for that too.
Yeah.
Instead of going for the gusto, just get something.
Just to get something and then end up with nothing.
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure. I don't believe. Well, no, you can't be tried for the same crime twice. So
Nah,
you can't go back in with a lesser charge. I don't know if I don't know in this case, do they have the ability to or does the jury have the ability to lesser the charge, to like manslaughter or something to that degree? I don't know.
From everything that I've been hearing from legal experts, it would seem they do have the ability. I guess as we've had Alicia Payton on the show before, and she talked about how when you file a brief, you can put in lesser charges if the jury doesn't agree with the lead charge. Mm-hmm. And so from all the legal experts I've been listening to, it seems like, in their opinion at least, that is on the table. But I guess from what they're suggesting, the prosecution would kind of have to bring it to their attention almost. I don't necessarily know if it's something they're just going to jump on their own. I'm sure when they get their final instructions before they go in the jury room, they'll break all that down for them and kind of give them all of their complete options that they can choose. But we'll see, man. I just know, I've been listening to everything, and just based on, again, looking at the facts of the case, keeping my emotions to the side, and leaving whatever I think should be the case, removing all that, when you look at the facts, at the end of the day, the law says that you vote guilty when you think beyond a reasonable doubt that this person is guilty of the crime. That if you have any reasonable doubt that this person is guilty of that crime, then you are supposed to vote not guilty. That's what the law says. Mm-hmm. And when you think about, the one thing I thought when I saw the families testifying as to who was on the tape, I thought to myself, like, what do you expect these people to say?
Exactly.
Exactly. You expect this mom to go on the stand and be like, I'm really not sure if that's my baby. Like, no, she gonna go on the stand, and I'm not saying that she's lying or anything like that. I wholeheartedly believe that when she listens to that tape, that she believes that's her baby. But I mean, there's nothing else you expect them to say. When I heard the mom, Trayvon's mom, go on first, and then they brought up his brother out next, it thought me in my mind, I wonder when the defense goes up, is the first thing they're going to do is bring his mom on the stand to testify that was George, and bring his dad on the stand to testify it was George. And sure enough, as soon as they got that opportunity, here come mom. Yes, that's my baby on the, it's like, there's doubt right there. Like, who baby is this on this tape? But man, it's going to be tough, man. I just hope that people accept justice for what it is, right. Appreciate that according to our system of justice, this is our system of justice at work, and whatever decision they make, which I truly believe they're not going to at least make the decision the majority of people would like to see them make, but I just hope they just take it for what it is. Don't start no whole riots, and I hope we don't have to have a new rally with, the good Reverend Doctor coming down and talking about the travesty and all of that stuff, man. I hope they leave all that to the side and kind of let it be. Hopefully, I heard he was going to Chicago and dealing with Chicago or something like that. I think he said I read he was moving to Chicago to help deal with the gun violence up there. So hopefully he stays in Chicago. And,
I'm sure it wasn't Canada.
And deals with the gun violence in Chicago. But and just take it for what it is, man. I heard a lawyer say today, at the end of the day, what we want is for the same rules to apply to us if we ever find ourselves in that situation. And certainly I think nobody's breaking the rules as it comes. If I had to guess, it certainly seems like the judge is doing her best to be fair, and even almost leaning to help the prosecution out. Almost, I think in the back of her mind, she knows they ain't the best job in the world here. But yeah, man, I just hope things go as their way and things fall as their way. But it certainly sounds like there isn't the concrete bullet, if you will, to truly pull the trigger and say without a doubt this man is guilty of a crime. Not in this case, bro. Not in this case.
Right.
Not in this case. I mean, you can't, like I said, you can't even agree on whose voice it was. You got different opinions on that. And even the other thing that the prosecution keeps bringing up is, the forensic evidence that the doctor testified to today had to do about what happened with in terms of the gunshot where Trayvon Martin was when George Zimmerman actually shot him. He even talked about, because another inconsistency, they call it, is the fact that no DNA has been found on Trayvon Martin's fingers, as well as on the gun. And to that, it's just, to me, that's almost semantics. It's like, unless you're going to tell me the man, before the cops got there, found a way to break his own nose, and then bang his head against the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we disputing whether or not these injuries he has are real or not? I was reading something today on Facebook. I won't call you out, but you know who I'm talking about. I was reading something today on a Facebook page, and they were talking about how they know that he did all of this stuff to himself. Like really, in the 5 to the 2 to 3 minutes before the cops got there, he found a way to break his own nose and make it bloody. He found a way to make sure the back of his head was cut up. It's like, really? I mean, or what's the next? I was talking to somebody else. I said, for me to really, discount everything George Zimmerman says, the first thing I need to believe is that George Zimmerman is a mastermind. Because this got to be a because if you look at it, there's certainly some things you question, but for the most part, he's consistent in everything he said.
That's right, yeah.
And so to truly find doubt in him, you got to almost believe that he had to think of all of this in the 5 to 15 minutes that this whole thing was beginning to play out. And then once he was done, he had it all laid out for the police. Like, I'm looking at George Zimmerman, and I'm not saying he's dumb, but
he ain't that smart.
But he ain't that smart. You know what I'm saying? He ain't that smart.
He ain't that smart.
He ain't that smart to have this whole thing and map it all out in 10 to 15 minutes before it all happened, and then sell the world a dream we can believe in. It's just, I just don't think the man is that much of a mastermind to put this together. So there's got to be some truth in what's happening, and certainly the evidence is at least supports the idea that at some point he was getting beat up. You got to be out your mind and just question whether or not he beat up himself in 2 to 3 minutes before the cops got there. Because that's pretty much what you tell him.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. People got to we got to think rationally, y'all. I mean, I know we get emotional and all that stuff, but I mean, come on now. Let's just have some sense about it. See, that's the thing that I don't like about it. And people be like all upset, like, but you ain't even speaking on facts. You speaking on what you think is supposed. Come on, we got to speak facts. This is facts. This is law. This is the courtroom. Facts. Go off the facts. Don't go off what you think happened.
Right, and these people's lives at hand right
exactly.
here. Because we don't know the other side of the story. We just got what George Zimmerman saying. What if that, like you said, one of us was in a case like George Zimmerman, and we like, I had to do this, or I wouldn't be here. I was scared for my life. Because since we don't know, that's what George Zimmerman has said, and it's tough. It's so much unstableness and inconsistency with a story. How do you? I can't say how you don't know what your child's voice sounds like. I don't have any children yet. It's just the aspect of I sincerely believe that these people, the workers and the scientists, took their time to get an unbiased, truthful statement to say what happened, and it's gonna come out very soon.
Definitely. Like I said, I just hope whenever the defense rests, which I was listening today, they think that might be tomorrow. It could be as early as tomorrow.
Yeah, I heard it might be tomorrow.
That the defense will rest, and so certainly that gives the jury at least 2 days this week. I think if they're honest about it and they leave all of their emotions at the door, I don't think they'll be deliberating an extremely long time. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. I just hope, like I said, I don't think we'll have riots or anything. I just
y'all please stay at the house.
I just hope they don't,
please stay at the house.
Don't have a bunch of new rallies. It is what it is.
I wouldn't even say
everything was circumstantial.
I don't necessarily mind a rally. I just don't riot. Y'all don't be around tearing stuff up,
shooting off in the air.
Because y'all not gonna go to downtown Sanford and do it. Y'all not, because they ain't having it.
Nope.
That new police chief, Man, his whole notoriety, his name is riding on this. You think he finna let y'all act the fool down there? Man, please, they gonna come through here with a dump truck and scoop y'all up.
We'll take you out. One of the other.
Hey, you better hope he bring the dump truck.
All right, we'll see what happens, man. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. Let's go ahead. We're going to move on here. Well, like I told you, we brought Neal on the show. Neal has a book that he's written recently. Go ahead and tell us the name of the book, Neal.
The book is simply called The Faith of an Overcomer, Developing Your God-Given Abilities. So, it just came out. So Amazon.com. You can look it up. And or just hit me up on Facebook, under Neal Jones, and we can send you a copy.
Awesome. So tell us, what is the book about, man?
Basically, the book is inspired from Mark chapter 5 with the story of Legion, and how Legion was tormented a man in the cave, and the man was cutting himself with knives, and the people left him to himself. And Jesus was coming off the boat. And when Jesus came off the boat onto the land, the Legion stopped what he was doing, and he ran to Jesus' feet, and he bowed down, and he cried unto Jesus, and he asked Jesus, he called out Jesus, Son of Man, and Jesus said, calm down, relax, in a nutshell. And then he asked Jesus, can I go into the swine? And Jesus permitted him to go into the swine. And the book goes around, and it breaks down those 4 or 5 simple little things that the demon did. It stopped what it was doing and ran to Jesus and bowed down, called God who he is, and asked for permission to do something, and Jesus granted it. Now, if a demon can do that on his own and not even consider being saved, how much more can we do as being Christians? You know what I mean? It's like stopping what we're doing, recognizing God for where he is and who he is, and going to God and simply asking for something that we can do according to our gifts and abilities. Now, those demons went into those swine. The swine ran off in the water and, killed themselves. It's just the book is just an aspect of learning what faith is, how to use faith, and the proper faith that God requires out of us on a daily basis.
Okay. All right. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number if you have any questions for Neal this evening. What was your inspiration? What made you want to bring out and write a book, actually?
Oh, man. Life. Going through a whole bunch of different life situations. Honestly, I actually finished the book in 2009, and that was a real faithful year for me with God. That was my test. It was in the middle of a lot of different stuff. And let's say, for example, January 1st, 2009, I get a phone call. I was down here in Orlando. I was living in Georgia at the time, and my house burned down. Everything I had burned down. I was down here, so I had to drive up the road to nothing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I went to my apartment. The fire department was still there, exiting it off, saying the roof was going to fall in. So I went to the back to get my clothes. As crazy as it sounds, because I didn't have nothing. I came home to visit and pray with my family as what we do. Yeah. So I'm like, man, this is crazy. I went in, couldn't do nothing. The roof actually did fall down. So I ran out. My homeboy, I went to his house, stayed there. I went back the next morning, everything was gone. And even when I was going through the rubble of all that stuff, all I could hear, it was like loud. I was by myself, but it would seem like I heard an echo of thousands of people saying, my grace is sufficient. My grace is sufficient. It's just telling me that, and I was saying, Lord, I don't have nothing left. I don't have nothing. I got no shoes. I wear a size 16 shoes, so I can't just go get no shoes from the store.
Yeah, you can.
Ain't that simple.
And so it was just an aspect of, God, how do I get through this? You know what I mean? What am I supposed to do? It just told me, your faith will make you whole. Your faith will, like I said, faith is heaven's currency. How we buy things down here with money, we get things from God according to our faith and how we work it. In 2009 was just the third year. 2008, I was homeless. 2007, I had tumors and stuff in my face, and it was a lot of different stuff going on. You know what I mean? From being homeless and having my first apartment, and I had dedicated that apartment that burned down to God. And I said, God, if you give me a house or apartment from being homeless, living on my stratus, that I would do your will. So I started having Bible studies in that apartment. So as soon as I leave, I was about 65 people on a Monday night, a bunch of college students in the community in Statesboro, Georgia. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I leave, come home, come back, it's burnt down. So I knew it was just an attack on the enemy to see if I was going to really be faithful to my dedication to God and my commitment. And so in writing the book is more like understanding that God will give you all that you need when you take on who God is. and who he is in your life. And the demon knew he was God by himself, so he knew I got to stop tormenting this man and get up out of here. Mm-hmm. And as a believer, I have the Holy Spirit and I'm an heir with Christ, so it's more of, nothing really matters no more if it's not with God. And 2009 was my whole year of believing. If God, I don't need to hear nothing else from God. As long as I got his hand, I'm all right. You know what I mean? And by faith, it was just a bunch of stuff. In 2010, I had a heart attack. It was just a bunch of stuff after that, and I'm still here. So it's really the faith of an overcomer cannot be defeated. Faith knows no failure.
Definitely. You're a young man. So having a heart attack certainly had to be a bit of a shocker, definitely.
Shocker. I was playing the organ at the church. All of a sudden I felt a pain in my chest. And then all of a sudden I woke up in the hospital, plugged up the stuff. And as soon as I woke up, called my mom and my daddy. And I don't remember a whole lot. I just know that I walked out of there that night. So I just know that I was telling a friend of mine this, Jonathan, he's overseas playing ball in Uruguay. And I said, man, all I can say is that God is a sustainer to the promise he given me. I should have been gone, all the stuff like that, but because I held on to God's promise, he got to give me what his promise needs to walk through and be right, to look like God. So when I say I'm walking over faith and promise and of God, look at my wife, man. You know what I mean? I'm just, I'm blessed. So I just want to encourage people to know that your faith will make you whole, and the faith is really all you need. And I'm a living testimony of that.
Awesome. 407-894-1680. 407-894-1680. You're right, man. Faith is definitely what will sustain you. I have to agree with you on that. Jeremy, you got any questions here?
No, I was just saying, man, you're just such an example of faith, and we as Christians, so sometimes we tend to forget that is the cornerstone of Christianity. It's about faith. That's what it's about. It's not about you singing in the choir. It's not about you singing well in the choir.
Right.
It's not about you coming to church every Sunday. People come to church every Sunday but don't have no faith. Let a bill come with a final notice and they lose their mind. Yeah. And just the fact you exercising faith on your level is just such an example. I haven't been through that, I have been through that, but I've had to exercise some faith in my life, with a family and having a family, kids, and no job, and, you just really just having that faith, just depending on God. Still, the little money I'm getting, still trying to pay my tithes, still trying to give a decent offering, you still sacrificing, so I had to go through those things, and now I'm in a better position now. So just like you saying, faith, man, oh, man.
It's, this faith the size of a mustard seed can do a whole lot.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And I think it's just the whole book. The book itself is just it teaches you about faith. It's only 5 chapters long and 60 pages long. It's not a long book, but just the aspect of teaching about faith and what faith is. The book even goes on to talk about a demon's faith and like what demons believe and the things about hell and how hell is organized against you. And hell will come at you maybe let's say 3 times according to your faith to see if your faith is really that strong. It's always a test. It's always a war. It's just an aspect of if you believe and stay rooted in it, then there's no fight.
All right. We have Neal's father's on the phone. He wants to call in. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am almost as good as my son.
Hey, Dad. What's your comment tonight, sir?
I'm proud of you, son. I am extremely proud of you. I love you dearly, and I always will. Keep on keeping on. I got your back. We all have your back. God is amazing, and you are his tool. I love you, man.
I love you, too.
Thank you, bro.
All right, no problem, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. So you were talking earlier. You said there were 4 to 5 points you said you hit on in the book.
Yeah, just little points that I kind of brought out of a different revelation of just number one, just really much running to Christ and falling down to him when you're in his presence. Because when thinking about it, the Holy Spirit was not released when Jesus was walking the earth. Jesus had to die on the cross, be resurrected, and he ascended. When he ascended, the Holy Spirit came down as the helper for us. So therefore, the demon didn't have the Holy Spirit of discernment to know to stop. He had to know who Jesus was, which means he had some kind of understanding that he is the Son of the Most High. You know what I mean? So the first thing, you got to recognize what Christ is in your life. And when you recognize what Christ is, literally nothing else matters but getting to him, which is the second step, getting to Christ. You can do it anywhere. You know, there's been times I prayed in my car. I put over on the side of the road and pray because I needed some kind of instructions from God. And what I love about it is that the demon had enough sense to ask Jesus, can I go into the swine? How much more would your Father give you for those who love him and are his children? If he tells 2,000 demons, yes. You know what I mean? If you run to Jesus in his will, what else can he say but yes to you? You know, even the demons understood the order and the order of the spiritual realm. You know, like the demon, they like, I can't do this. This dude is that deal. You know, and I call it the blessed thing about it is that after the man, which we never know his name, he went off to Decapolis and told everybody in that city. Decapolis means of 10 cities, a huge city, about Jesus, and we never knew his name, which I love that fact. You don't even know his name. You just know he got delivered. He had to tell somebody else about it. And I think as a believer, as a Christian, you know, it's not about. As a person who's saved by God, ain't about the titles, ain't about none of it. Do what you're supposed to do. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I want to hear 7 words. Well done, my good and faithful servant.
Amen.
Amen, brother. Amen. Got a little mini sermon up here tonight. I like that. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. Tell us, Neal, about what else you got going on. I know we were talking earlier, and I believe you were telling me the book was self-published, right?
No, not this book. My wife's book was self-published.
Okay.
She wrote a book, How to Walk in High Heels as a Woman. It's a phenomenal book. Her book came out before mine did. I actually hooked up with a friend of mine, Hashim Francis, with Built to Prosper Publishing. A friend of mine I met at the Urban League meeting. You know, we met up there, and we hooked up, and he published a book for me. He has a bunch of different books and magazines that he does. But as of right now, my wife and I, we're looking forward. We're progressing and starting our own publishing company as well, with books and renderings and cards, business cards, pamphlets, all kinds of things. If you want it written, we can write it for you. If you don't know how it looks, my wife has been blessed to be able to do the different things of graphic design, things of that nature, and stuff like that. So we're doing that. I wrote another book that's coming out, and hopefully in October. She got a book coming out, hopefully in August. You know, just the aspect of our purpose together and individually was to write books and to get the gospel out through literature. And so that's what we do. That's what we're doing right now. We just bought a computer last week to keep on writing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's called the Jones Papers. You know, we're doing things like that. So let's keep up with the Joneses, you know.
Yeah. We're going to try to.
We'll definitely keep up with the Joneses on this show, man. And definitely come back and see us, too, when the book comes out. What's the title of the new book?
The title of the new book coming out is called Treasured Testimonies. Treasured Testimonies is simply just about the different testimonies of people in the Bible that you may not think about. Perhaps the cupbearer, when the cupbearer who was prophesied to from Joseph in prison, and Joseph told him, "I prophesied to you. When you get out, you got to tell the king about me." And the whole year went by when the cupbearer was out, and it was King's birthday, and all you hear a cupbearer would say, "Oh, today I recall my failures." How did the cupbearer really feel about that whole situation? There's a testimony in that. You know what I mean? And I'm writing about it. You know what I mean? And even one of my favorite ones is the donkey. How did that donkey feel about carrying Balaam when his back getting hit? You know what I mean? The donkey's sitting there like, because he talked. So why not have him tell his testimony in the book? And just it's a bunch of different volumes we got coming out with that. Just the aspect of looking at the Bible differently and appreciating all that God put in there. Because the truth of the matter is, we are all those little stories. You have a testimony that can change somebody's life. Right. Just that simple. You know what I mean? So doing that. And my wife wrote another book about, let me get the name right before she kill me.
Get it right, brother.
Get it right, brother. We don't want you to die,
please get it right.
She wrote secrets every college fresh woman should know. Her mission, her purpose is she loves talking to young ladies and equipping them with the knowledge that she learned and no one per se told her.
Mm-hmm.
So she wrote a book that things that young women should know: how to be safe, how to be a woman of class, how to tell that dude no and set standards, things like that as a young woman.
That's
and
needed.
It's very needed.
Very
it's
needed,
primarily
yeah.
pressed for not just young women going in college, women in college, women getting out of college, women who just need help, period.
Right.
And so she does her thing. You know, she's trying to set up different ways she can talk to young women, different seminars. She's been doing it, you know. So, like I said, we're just trying to stay busy because we're just trying to get in them gates, you know. So we're just using what we got, and God has blessed us with the gifts we have to do everything debt free. You know what I mean? We're not, you know what I mean? So that's a blessing in that. We just, like I said, we riding on faith. And I tell my wife every day, we paid on bills, and I'm like, you got money for that? She said, no. I said, well, I ain't broke. Faith is my currency. As long as I got faith, we're going to get it.
No, that's right.
We're going to get it done. That's a good message, brother. That's
Say
definitely
faith
good.
without works is dead.
That's what they say, brother. Faith without works is dead. That's awesome, man. Give us your information. How can we get in contact with the Jones Papers and you already mentioned you can find the book on Amazon. So how can we get in contact and get some of these other books you guys are working on?
You can just hit up my cell phone. It don't ring that much no way. 407-761-0308. Again, 407-761-0308. But primarily, if you have any information you want to send that you want edited or you want published, things of that nature, just hit up my direct email address is verl.jones, which is VERYL.jones@yahoo.com. You can send all the information there, anything, any requests like that, and we will get back to you within 24 hours, things of that nature like that. Whether it be an idea for business card, even the logo, anything that needs publishing, we got you. And that's how you get a hold of me and my wife.
Awesome. Now you might want to spell that Verl for him. That's a little old school on him, man.
Yeah, that's me and my dad's name. So it's Verl as in very, ERYL Jones, JONES @yahoo.com. It's very L. That's how you right. That's how you spell it. Very with the L on the end. .Jones @yahoo.com. We would love to hear from you. Any ideas, anything like that. We are down helping. My wife made some logos for the senator, for it doesn't matter. She has done it all. You know what I mean? So if you need help writing a book, ghostwriters for ministers, preachers, evangelists of any denomination, race, or culture, we are open and we have done it. We are going to, we're here for you.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Now, I also know you do some speaking, right, as well, right?
Yeah, I did some. I started a motivational speaking gig around 2011 when I was in Southeast Georgia, from Savannah and Statesboro, things in Augusta, and since I moved back home, just keeping it up, just motivational speaking, motivating, inspiring, with word-based speeches, things of that nature. Primarily just telling people to get up, do something with yourself, and pretty much directing. This is how you do it. Working with the thing that you have. You don't need nothing else to be effective in this world. God has given you everything you need, and that's what the purpose of what is called standard ministry is, to get you to the standard that Christ has called you for. You know what I mean? It may not be a preacher. It may not be behind any pulpit. You may never be seen. But it is something that God's going to ask for you for. And that's why I'm trying to motivate you to pull that out of you. In different mentor groups and sessions, stuff like that. It's just needed. It's just needed of all ages. It's just needed. Everybody needs some help.
Definitely.
Myself included, so.
Definitely. You're right. Everybody does need some help, especially from time to time. Because not every day is going to be great, and you're going to need some help in those not so great days. God didn't promise you that life was going to be beautiful always. He promised you life. So at some point you definitely usually can use that pickup. So I agree with that, brother. You were definitely busy. 407-894-1680. Neal's going to be with us to the end of the show here, and definitely a busy brother. Give him one more time, Neal. How can they get in contact with you, man? 407-761-0308 or verl.jones@yahoo.com. Again, that's verl.jones@yahoo.com. Or hit me up on Facebook. Just at Neal Jones. Type in Neal Jones, NEALJONES. You'll see me in my picture there smiling, so you'll find me. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So we again, man, we thank you definitely for coming by, Neal. We appreciate it, man. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. Real quick, man, just a couple quick comments. that I've seen lately. One of the things we've got a couple people that visit the show lately. Jason Henry's one of them. And a couple of weeks ago, he brought in about Egypt. And if you haven't been following what's been going on, it's kind of been crazy over there. Yeah. But recently, the president, who just sometime within the last year, they had a bunch of freedom riots, is at least how we phrased them when they were going on, at least our government anyway. That happened, and they elected a new president who was a part of a controversial group anyway called the Muslim Brotherhood. But he got elected as president, and then he's made some moves that to some come as not a surprise, they say, but a surprise to others. And so recently the people had decided that they had enough of him. Right. And as a result, they pretty much, again, started some more rallies and riots to get him out. They came to a conclusion that he would leave, he came to the conclusion that he wasn't going anywhere. And then ultimately the military stepped in to remove him from power. And at this point, they're sort of in flux. They do have an interim president, but the rest of the governmental structure is sort of in flux. And nobody kind of knows what's going to happen with that. Just a quick comment about it. It's interesting, like I said, especially coming from, and I know somebody's going to call in, or they're going to talk about me at home and say every chance he get, he talking about my president. But but it's interesting, when you follow that. One of the things, there's a lot of critics, like I said, when this gentleman, and I can't think of his name at the moment, but when he became president, because of his association with the Muslim Brotherhood, who in that portion of the world has a negative reputation of sort of wanting to bring things back to that traditional mindset of what you kind of consider Muslims to be. They refer to it a lot as Sharia law, which is not very pleasing to women in general. And then it also sort of, it just puts the man at the top, and you kind of got to listen. If you are a female and kind of do what he says is a lot of the general policies that follow that. And to see our president sort of back that, and they ended up giving Egypt over $1 billion to kind of support them. And then now that, not even a year later, this country is, basically started a coup again. And the military went in and told him he got to go, otherwise there was going to be a problem, if you will. And to see us now still sort of, almost support this, it goes to say, the one thing or one criticism I have for him goes back to his foreign policy. It seems to be non-existent, clueless is what I kind of refer to it as he always gets himself in these situations where he supports these coups. He's doing it now in Syria. There's a coup going on there. He's now supporting the rebels there. And with a lot of these Middle Eastern countries, one guy is not necessarily better than the next guy. He's just the next guy. And so, one thing, I hope that we can grasp as a country, the president can grasp as a leader, you have to be careful with a lot of these conflicts. One of the things that I think that we have to do as a country is back out of some of this stuff, because we don't know. We really don't understand this stuff. A lot of this stuff's been going on for hundreds of years, and it's almost tradition at this point in a lot of these countries, and we're kind of stepping in, trying to be the good guy because we want everybody to be in democracy. And quite frankly, I had an honest belief that everybody ain't supposed to be in democracy, honestly, I mean, it sounds beautiful and it sounds lovely that, you have the choice, but when you look at the history, the history doesn't dictate that, sometimes you got to just tell these people it's going to be like this, and it's a lesson that I think we ought to learn, especially when you look at Israel and some of the things that happened between Israel and Palestine, as many peace talks as they've had over the years. And still yet no solution. Why? Because this is 100 years of, the Hatfields and the McCoy. And thousands of years, and those kinds of conflicts aren't solved, in the back room in a 32-hour conversation. It takes years of generational mindset changes in order to bring about change, and definitely something that we got to watch out for. It's a good thing that we don't have those kind of issues here from that particular perspective. I think within some of our races we have some of those issues, which is, why we're so on different sides of the fence on this whole Zimmerman thing right now. But we got to be careful. And I think as a country, as leaders in this country, the president in particular, he loves to step out there and support these Muslim countries. I don't think he's a Muslim, but he definitely feels them. But we got to be careful with that, man, and just be careful and watch and see what happens, because hopefully nothing happens that's going to put us in any danger, because certainly at some point want to make it to Egypt. I think you got to see the pyramids and the Sphinx before you die. I think that's it's got to be something on your list, man. It's got to be on everybody's travel list to see the history that's over there. And I would hate to see that kind of opportunity ruined, due to conflicts that they're having within the country, man. So be on the lookout, man. Watch out, see what's happening. Stay up on the international scene and see what's happening. I know Jason will be here next week. I kind of got a glimpse of his topic. I know it won't be international next week, but he definitely keeps his pulse to the ear, and gives us some education on those types of topics, man. Jeremy, you got any final comments here, man? We're winding down. Anything on your mind, sir?
Don't forget about the West Side. That's it.
That's been on your mind this week, huh, bro?
Yeah, it's just a little disheartening, I don't want to be the forgotten people.
You don't want to be forgotten people?
No, we count too.
Well, I haven't forgotten you, bro.
We count for more than just the leading topic in the news.
Right.
Shots in Pine Hills this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Growing up on the West Side, it is kind of disheartening, because we grew up in Pine Hills. And so, I don't live in Pine Hills anymore, but I certainly have an affinity for it. And just the idea that people, just the idea that they call it Crime Hills these days, that even bothers me. You know what I'm saying?
The funny thing, they was calling it that when we were growing up, but I didn't understand it then. Now, to be honest with you, I understand a little more now. But back then, even I was like, well, come on now.
Yeah, because, we grew up there, 20, 30 years. And so, I vouch, at least on our street, in our neighborhood, man, we didn't have none of that craziness happening.
I still live in Pine Hills.
Faith, brother.
So he got to have the faith to stay over there, right? But yeah, man, we grew up over there, man, and it is disheartening that they certainly thrown that part of the city down the drain and kind of threw us in the garbage, if you will, as far as what they think of it. I certainly disagree with I still disagree with Crime Hills. I know that there's crime in Pine Hills. I'm not denying, but there's crime everywhere, and I just refuse to believe the crime in Pine Hills is so much, and even in my job, when people talk about different visits that they have to do at doctor's office, and they it's over in Pine Hills. Oh, really? Oh, I don't want to go over there. You going to a doctor's office?
I know. And I'm gonna put it out there. I bet any amount of money, there are more robberies that happen on International Drive that happen in Pine Hills every night.
All day.
All day.
But you're not gonna see that on the news.
Nah, brother.
Because Lord forbid the tourists don't show up.
Yeah, we need those tourists, brother. We need those tourists in Orlando. But we're gonna wrap it up. Again, we thank you for coming down, Neal. Give him one more time that information, man.
407-761-0308, Verl.Jones@yahoo.com, or just simply find me at Neal Jones on Facebook.com.
Awesome, man. And definitely visit us again, brother, when the book comes out, when the new book comes out, man, so we can talk about that. So we want to thank you for listening again today. Again, we thank our guest, Neal, for coming through. This is WOKB 1680 AM. What's up, brother? I know the music should be rolling by now, but that's okay. Go and find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, find us on YouTube. Everything is Real Family Talk. We thank y'all for listening. Have a good week. You can follow us on Facebook, Real Family Talk. You can follow us on Twitter, Real Family Talk. The website, realfamilytalk.weebly.com.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.